How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Lawbeck Luxury Cars Friday Drive. I'm Sam Brabham. It's been a while since I've done a video. I've been away for about a year doing some other things, but I'm back and we've got this beautiful 296 GTB to start off with. So the 296 GTB, a huge shift for Ferrari, going from that V8 twin turbo to now the V6 hybrid. And I wanted to start off with the exterior because there's a lot of styling cues that I think have changed from that 488 style, even towards the more aggressive pista that Ferrari have done. But with the 296, it looks sleeker, it looks a little bit more refined, I think, less mean, but super slippy through the air. And you can see the front of those angular headlights as well. And as we head towards the rear, that becomes more true. You see on the 488, those circular styled rear headlights, whereas on these, it's completely different. As we head towards the side of the car, carbon ceramic brakes, that beautiful finish in that Rosso red as well. And as you start to come across, you realize how low down the car is. It's super, super low. It's only about 1,250 kilos without the drive rail fuel, which is super, super light for a car that's got over 800 horsepower. Moving around, you've got the vents for the engine bay, which we're going to open up in a second as well. And I'm just looking at it even from the side skirts. You can see there's almost like a change in aero philosophy with the car, because typically you'd see vents and turning vanes everywhere, whereas now it's just super sleek, super low to the ground, super slippery through the air. Moving to the back now, you see what I mean by those rear brake lights. Super clean, nice and flat, which typically is so different to what Ferrari have done in the past. Same as the rear with the diffuser, carbon diffuser down here, trying to suck the car to the ground. And then I actually really enjoy the rear end here where the exhaust is. I like that super clean look, and you see one from the back and they're so distinctive, and you look at it and it's a head turner straight away. And with the amount of power this thing has, like I said, over 800 horsepower, it really shows what this car is capable of as we start to get into it. So we're talking about the engine, 2.9 litre V6 twin turbo, a huge change in philosophy for Ferrari, heading out of 488 and what they've done in the past to now this. And there was a bit of conjecture a little bit when this car first got announced that it would have this powertrain. It's also a mild hybrid, so it does have about 125 horsepower from the electric motor as well. And when we'll start the car up in a minute, you can hear that it turns on and there's no sound until you want it to be in the different drive modes that you have. And it's one of those cars, you know, 0 to 100 in under 3 seconds. So faster than the previous generation. It's 330 kilometers an hour top speed as well. And I was lucky enough to have driven this car on track at Sandown. It was a little bit wet dry, and we were still doing absolutely crazy speeds down the straight. I think we were getting 290, 295 with customers, let alone someone like myself driving. So it shows what the car is capable of. And it's one of those vehicles that it might not look like a track car, but I know a few people who do use them on track, and they're so impressive to drive. And having driven it myself, this car surprised me even more than I thought it would, and I think that's saying something. Heading on to the interior now, and for a low, small car, it's extremely spacious. There's lots of space for the passenger, and as a driver, what I'm feeling from the driver's seat is super comfortable, very connected with the car. I've got space, but I still feel in the car properly. And then with the steering wheel placement and the carbon paddles as well. And one thing I do really like about these cars, and something that's a little bit different, is this passenger seat screen. As I start the car up, it starts up in the electric power. You can hear it turn on, and it's in its sort of warm-up phase now. And up on the dash, you've got the controls for the passenger. And now, as we're starting to look at the dash, super digital now, taken a little bit from the 488, but evolved a little bit as well. Like, that infotainment system is a lot more advanced now, with the sort of haptic feel on the buttons here. You've got the heats settings, cruise control, and then you've got our drive modes here as well. So we can start the car off in our wet setting, into our sport setting. We've got race and then CT off, which is kind of like the traction control system, the ESC, and then we've got ESC off completely, but we'll save that for the track. On the left-hand side here, we've got hybrid. We have our full electric system. So you get about 25 kilometers of range at full capacity. And then when we start the car up, you can start to hear that engine. And it was something that I've had to sort of raise my voice already, but there was something about the V6 that people thought it's not going to sound good. I actually think these cars sound incredible, and I'll just give it a... You can start to hear it. It sounds amazing. And out of our race, you've got our full race mode, which we can flick into, do lap timing, take it to the track, and kind of go from there. And it's a car that's gonna, on the circuit, gonna compete in so many ways with so many more track-focused cars. But actually, to cruise around in with the mild hybrid, but then also in the sport mode, I actually think gives you the best of everything. So I wanted to showcase a little bit of a difference, and as we were starting to film, this F8 was here, the F8 Tributo. It was actually the first video I did for Shreko and Lorbeck Luxury Cars a few years ago, and just wanted to showcase the comparison between the two cars. There's a few years in development, but also some of the differences where the performance necessarily has actually got better, but sometimes in not the most obvious ways. Now, you've got the front scoop. It looks so much more aggressive with the turning vanes all through here, a little bit bigger vents at the front as well. I just find it that little bit more aggressive as we're going around. We're going to make our way to the back of the car now and showcase those differences for the rear particularly. Another highlight to that is, if we remember back to the rear guard and the vent that's on the 296, how much more aggressive this is in comparison. And then as we roll around to the back of the car, you'll see what I mean by those circular brake lights. It's such a different look, and this feeling for that 488, 458 was so specific and so iconic, and it's interesting that they've gone away from that. But with the rear profile of the 296, I don't think this would suit it. I think it looks so much better like that, and I'm a huge fan of the F8 and the 488 styling, but this 296, I'm a huge fan. Thanks again for watching another episode of our Lorbeck Luxury Cars Friday Drive. I love this car. The 296 is a fantastic step in the right direction. It's stylish, it's sleek, it's fast, it's comfortable, and no wonder this thing sold so quickly. Make sure you go and like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram for more content, and make sure you tune in for the next video. Cheers.